What's up, YouTube? It's Aerith, your favorite preservation evoker, and I'm here today to bring you a quick and dirty little guide on how you can bleed dispel multiple times in a row on crawth. So it's actually possible to bleed dispel your tank 3 consecutive times in phase 1 of crawth, 3 consecutive times in phase 2, and on tyrannical 3 consecutive times in phase 3. Before we get into the nitty gritty details of that, though, make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube and make sure that you're following me over on Twitch, where you can probably find me streaming right now. I have no life, so I'm streaming pretty much like 12, 13 hours a day. You can find me at twitch.tv/eyelashtv, and I really hope to get a chance to meet you and to say hi. Without further ado, though, let's go ahead and talk about this trick. It's definitely a useful tool to have in your playbook and something that I use pretty frequently for a couple different mechanics. This one being the premier one. So here we are about to start crawth. As you can see, the bird comes down. And we're going to get our first peck immediately. So most takes request that they get to sit the first bleed because they're in cooldowns, they have different things rolling. Um and that is totally fine. So we let our tank sit this first bleed and put dream breath, put reversions on them, just like kind of keep them healthy through it. As soon as that first bleed drops, that's where the magic starts with our little trick. So we're going to go into a stasis and we are going to dry fire 3 cauterizing flames onto our tank. We can cast it 3 consecutive times because it does not go on cooldown when it does not dispel anything. So here comes the first bleed. We are going to dispel this with our regular cauterizing flame, not the one in the stasis, just our regular cauterizing flame, and it's gone. In about 7 seconds, we will get our second bleed. When we get our second bleed, we're going to immediately release our stasis. And this is where the magic happens. So as you can see, we get that second bleed right here. And we release stasis. Bleed is gone. Now there's an interesting interaction actually. So when your dispel fails to dispel something, it actually resets its cooldown. So while our dispel is currently on cooldown, and we simply have 3 bleed dispels inside of our stasis, when we get that second bleed and we release the stasis, the first cauterizing flame inside of the stasis dispels a bleed, so it would have no impact on the cooldown. However, the second one fails to dispel anything, as does the third one. And so what happens is that second bleed dispel fails to happen, and as a result, the game resets your cooldown. It says, "Oh, your cauterizing flame didn't dispel anything." Well, it's not on cooldown anymore. This is how you make the magic happen. So it's not really clear if this is intended or not. I do think that they will leave it. It seems like it would be like a massive, massive pain to try to code it in such a way that it goes on cooldown when it's just such a niche thing. I don't really see them changing it. Um, but yeah, you can use this little trick for anything. If you ever have 2 consecutive dots that you really need to dispel, you can do it in Halls of Valor, for instance. Um, then you are able to effectively puts multiple dispels inside of a single stasis, and then when you release it, the first one will successfully dispel, and the second one will fail to dispel and reset the cooldown. So that's effectively what we've done. And so then when we get our next dispel, which is coming up in 6 seconds, we will have cauterizing flame available once more. This is just a quick and dirty little guide. I might actually do a full-on guide for craft at some point. Just let me know if you would like to see that. I can give you a much more explicit guide on how to do defensives, on what to ask of your team. I think I would actually just do a general defensives guide where I talk about how to keep your team alive through one shots. And I think that guide will be coming up soon. I would like to actually look at Tira Maruk for that one. But yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed this pointer. I hope that you've been able to find success with it. Maybe you're a tank and you're frustrated with your evoker who's not dispelling all your bleeds, but you've heard about this. Definitely share this with your evoker. Don't be frustrated with them. We all have to learn. We all have to figure it out at some point. I knew this like pretty late in the season, I think, in terms of how long the tech has been around. So it's definitely forgivable. Let me go back over to my hanging out screen. Yeah, if you found this tip helpful, definitely be sure to follow my YouTube and to follow my Twitch. Thanks for everything, you guys. You guys make my life feel super awesome. Every day I get to wake up and make content. I'm super happy. Yeah, that's all I got for you today. Get out there and kill some birds. Their very existence is just kind of offensive. Like, look at the ugh. Birds. Weird. Just kidding. I love all animals. I really do. I love birds too. Okay. Bye, everybody.